Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Gemini rising signs, or if you have significant Gemini placements in your chart and are needing a neutral energy to help balance masculine and feminine energies within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Gemini, let's get started here. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Ant, which says work, achievement, and success. This card has been coming up a lot recently, so that may just be a particular focus at this time. And we also have the Camel card, which is talking about persevering through sort of a situation where there's perhaps extremes, where there's perhaps a lot of like a fiery environment in whatever way that is for you, and using sort of like your own internal, I want to say like emotional regulating system to try and sort of temper that kind of difficult energy with a lot of sort of inner peace is kind of how it's coming through here at the Camel. I feel like that's overall your energy, Gemini. With this card, I was also getting the song Before the Dawn by Tori Kelly, which I will link in the description box if you're interested in hearing it, which is basically just like talking about it's always darkest before the dawn, right? So I feel like if you are in this sort of energy of like quote unquote darkness or difficult environments or situations, it's kind of like it is going to shift soon. That's basically the message that's coming through here for you, Gemini. So we'll start off here with the Dolphin card, which says financial gain usually coming from something you did in the past, which is really interesting because we have here the Father of Pentacles that specifically came out in the reverse. So I feel like this is talking about like these are the past perhaps endeavors, or it could be like career related, but it doesn't have to be. It just feels like whatever it is you worked on in the past, but because it's coming in the reverse, perhaps those situations didn't pan out in the way that you expected them, is kind of how it's coming through. Like they weren't as successful, or they didn't end up being very long term, or whatever it is. However, there's still some sort of like financial gain that's coming out of those experiences, is kind of how it's coming through here. Because a card to clarify this one was the Seven of Pentacles, which I'm seeing as being like all of these past experiences, whatever they are for you, you gain some sort of like either wisdom or knowledge or experience that was necessary to align you to a certain path, is kind of how that's coming through. So it's kind of like each quote unquote failure, let's say, actually provided some sort of either like new experience or a piece of learning or something that actually brought you closer to something that's like, I don't know, like a life's purpose, or just like a career in general or something like that. So that's sort of what's coming through here with the Dolphin. So financial gain usually coming from something you did in the past, which I feel like is really good news for you. I almost said Capricorn, Gemini. So maybe you have Capricorn somewhere in your chart. And then the next two cards to come out are the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, which is so incredibly beautiful. And then the Tulip, which came out on top of these, which has great passion, right, with the Ace of Wands. But these cards were looking so like fresh. I've had this deck for a while, but it's like a brand new deck. Like that's what this was looking to me like something that so it feels like it's related to passion. It's like what I'm seeing with the cards coming out next, because you have the Peacock next, which talks about from this deck specifically, it talks about like an inner beauty that is radiated outward, but it also talks about like being able to assimilate or accept perhaps like certain truths, or accepting self and accepting others in a way that's very, it's a very Ace of Cups kind of energy. It's like just accepting where you are, accepting who you are, accepting who other people are around you, especially if it's like, because the card to come out on top of this was the Weeping Willow, which is family sorrow. So there may have been some sort of like, I don't know if this is past or present for you, Gemini, but it just feels like, or if it's ongoing or whatever this is, but it's just kind of feeling like there was or there is a situation here that's feeling like family sorrow or a loss of some sort, or like difficulty in some regard, but there's like a very profound acceptance of what's happening is kind of how it's coming through for you, Gemini, especially because you have the Ace of Swords coming out next. So you have 3 aces in your reading today. Like, this is how it's looking on the table. One right after another, with the peacock sort of emphasizing this, like, this new start, perhaps, or like a new start. I feel like is used so much in tarot videos. Like, what does that actually mean? I feel like it's renewed passion for something, maybe, with the tulip. I feel like there's also something, because I wanted to clarify what this family sorrow is, which is really interesting, because it's coming out with the Ace of Swords. It's like, I feel like you're getting some sort of truth about a situation that was perhaps really difficult, or whatever that is, right? Like something that was sorrow. Because what was coming out to clarify that was the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles. Like, I can't even make this up, that these 2 cards would come out like this, right? Which are both sort of like this long-term family kind of energy. So I don't know if this is like, well, I'm sure it's past. I feel like this is something that you've already sort of, or like you're working through sort of the truth about what it was that this situation didn't have, or was missing, or like caused it to end. Or maybe that's not the right way of phrasing it, but it's like integrating some sort of, like, if this was like a family or relationship that you had, it's like understanding what like why it ended in sorrow is kind of how it's feeling to me. Which I'm sorry if it did. This feels very much like a past energy to me. And especially because it's coming out with 10s, right? It's like, it's further emphasizing to me that like it reached a completion point is kind of how that's feeling. And then you have this sort of like new start, renewal, right? It's like you're getting a new start. You're getting some sort of new cycle is kind of how this is feeling to me. And what's interesting, though, it's like it's really emphasizing this sort of like the wands, right? Because I feel like whatever this situation was, it did have a lot of love, like a lot of happiness, a lot of cups energy. But it didn't have passion, maybe, is kind of how it's feeling, right? Because the passion card is out twice. I feel like maybe there's like a lot of the energies that's coming through here, it feels like there's like a rebalancing that's happening, where it's like perhaps the passion aspect or the fire element is coming in to sort of like, perhaps that was an area that was like unbalanced before. And so it's like this is now being emphasized. And so it's like whenever you have one element sort of being emphasized, it requires the other to sort of balance it out so it doesn't become too overwhelming. So it's kind of like there's a balance between sort of the cups energy, emotions, water, and this sort of passion and fire, creativity is kind of being balanced here. Okay. What's coming out next, though, it feels like this is sort of where, like, so this feels like some sort of, like, realization or understanding or truth that's coming in, where it's just, like, you're accepting others, especially if this was, like, a past relationship. You're accepting just, like, who they were. There's no blaming going on, is kind of how this is feeling to me. It's just kind of accepting that perhaps there was, like, just differences in opinion or differences in personality or whatever. It just feels like you're accepting people and yourself as they are. Okay, anyways, so what's coming next here? You have the bird perched, which says waiting for news, package, or a letter. And then when you have next, you have the fish and the magician. So if you look at, like, this bird perched, it has, like, the exact same position as the magician today, which is feeling like, I feel like you're waiting on something, Gemini. Because you have three aces here, right? With the magician, you have 3 out of the 4 components necessary in order to, like, actually claim this new start. And the one thing that you're missing is the Ace of Pentacles. And so which is sort of like the physicality of it, or whatever this new start is, being grounded into the physical, right? And it feels, if you look at the magician, it's sitting on that, right? That's what it's waiting for. That's what you're waiting for, Gemini. You're waiting for some sort of, like, physical, real world, tangible, new beginning that corresponds to all of this energy that you've been working with, is kind of how it's feeling to me. And with the fish here, this is emphasizing this sort of, like, there's a lot of movement happening energetically, right? Like, with the cups, the sword, the wands. But it's like there's perhaps a feeling of, like, feeling, like, lost to the current, that kind of thing. Because there hasn't been anything, like, grounded yet. It's like the new start hasn't been grounded in the physical. So I feel like maybe part of the guidance that comes with the fish is, like, to like, create small goals and complete sort of small things, like small tasks. I don't know, maybe making a list. I'm being reminded of the 7 of Pentacles, right? It's like, I feel like most of the groundwork has already been laid. And what I'm actually seeing here next, the cards that are coming out next. So first of all, you have the arrow, which says you are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. And then you have the 4 of Pentacles and the Tower. So 4 of Pentacles I see as being sort of like something that's a situation that's stagnant, that's not moving. I actually see this sort of being like something has grinded to a halt, is kind of how that looks to me. And so there's not movement in terms of the physical, right? Like, that's the problem. That's the sort of the hold up, or like the whatever this is. And then this combination of cards, the Tower and the Arrow. So this was looking to me, I've been watching the Hunger Games recently, the series. So in the second Hunger Games, there's this scene where she's like back inside this dome, and there's this tree where every 12 hours lightning will strike it as sort of like a timekeeper or like a clock. So there could be something about, well, obviously you're waiting for something, right? Some aspect of divine timing, perhaps, where it's going to align certain events for you, perhaps. But in the second Hunger Games, it talks about, there's like the scene where it's like she needs to destroy the force field that's around her. So maybe you're feeling like there's like a ceiling, or there's like some sort of like, with the 4 of Pentacles, like a stuckness that perhaps you can't get out of. And it's like there's this moment in the in the movie where she takes an arrow wrapped in like this metal wire and then shoots it at the force field just as the lightning strikes the tree, and that ends up destroying the dome, and they're able to get out of the stuckness, which is what I'm seeing happening for you, that there's perhaps like a very sort of like divine timing kind of energy where it's like a rare opportunity perhaps, or it's like once this package arrives, whatever this is, it's going to break you out of this energy of stuckness. And what's really interesting, because as I said, the Ace of Pentacles is the one ace that you're missing. And in this deck, obviously it didn't come out, but in this deck, the Ace of Pentacles looks like a tree trunk that's been cut, right? So it's kind of like the Ace of Pentacles, that new start that you've been waiting on, that's been grounded in the physical, is somewhere within this environment that you're in. It's just sort of like, it's coming through with like, it's like caked with stuckness on top of it. It's like, it's not, it's like there's like some, like, I don't know, like buildup of something that's preventing you either from seeing it or from utilizing it in a way. There's kind of like this energy of like, okay, you need like a really big, I don't want to say tower moment, in the sense that it normally is depicted. It feels more just like either like an epiphany or a lightning strike or some aspect, it could be of divine timing, where it's going to free up this energy, is kind of how that's feeling to me. So be patient, Gemini. You are on the right path. It's kind of like there's just something that's outside of your control, like waiting for a package or waiting for something to arrive in order to help you break out of this. And then finally we have here the table, hard work ahead, which is coming out with like this combination of cards, Starfish, Eagle, and Tarantula. So these two cards, the Starfish and the Tarantula, are kind of like opposites, which is talking to me about like the Tarantula is about claiming life's purpose. That's what this card talks about. It is uncomfortable. And again, with all this fire, right? Because it's something about like, you may be looking back at all of the past, perhaps, experiences in terms of like work, achievement, success. And perhaps the missing factor was that there was no passion, right? There was no fire. There was no, I don't know, like, you didn't care about, not that you didn't care about, but it wasn't something that you were passionate about. That's what I should say. That like you just did it because it was work, or it served some sort of purpose in your life, but it wasn't something that you were passionate about. It wasn't anything fiery. I feel like perhaps that's the difference, is that there's a bit of discomfort in choosing this path because it requires like, in contrast to the Starfish, which is this energy of like, not choosing things that are for your purpose, but are actually kind of like, either they benefit others in your life, or it's like, it's just something easy, or it's something that's like not super challenging. That's kind of the difference between these cards. So claiming life's purpose is going to be hard work, is what's coming through here, which you can absolutely do, Gemini, right? It's like, there's something about this shift with the Eagle. I feel like because this is talking about the balance between fire and air, because I feel like you will be getting out of sort of the watery energy soon. It's kind of how it's feeling to me. You're going to be shifting from water or fire to air, which to me is a very like fast moving energy. There's also perhaps some other epiphany that's coming in, or some more clarity about this. And then finally, just to end it off, these cards were the sort of clarifiers. So we have the cheetah, the whale, and the dragonfly sort of coming up against this magician. So I feel like maybe this is the energy of like what you're waiting for. It could also be, so it could be two ways, right? It's like you're waiting for some aspect of divine timing to arrive. So I feel like it's this. The dragonfly to me, well, there's a lot of ancient wisdom here. It could be something like receiving a download about like a past life that you need or something like that, or like what you've done in a past life, or wisdom from a past life, or whatever. It doesn't have to be past life related. It just feels like some sort of ancient knowledge or wisdom that is yours that is going to be arriving soon. It could be something like that. Very quickly. But this cheetah, how I'm seeing this is kind of like the shift between your energy of like right now, it's kind of feeling like you're waiting on something. Perhaps a bit tentative as well, like not quite moving forward. It's kind of like you're in and out. Well, it doesn't feel like quite like that. It feels like you're perhaps still looking back on the past, or looking back on, which is absolutely necessary, right? It's like looking back in order to integrate and understand perhaps something from your past, which is necessary. But it feels like there's kind of like this shift happening of from looking at the past into moving forward. That's how I'm seeing this combination of cards, where it's like once you get this, I don't know, epiphany, or perhaps it even is some sort of package or delivery or something like that, or like whatever it is, this Ace of Pentacles, once that arrives, it's like you're set now, right? You can go forward, you can move forward. It is going to be hard work, is what this is feeling like. But because it has all of this passion, I feel like it's not going to be sort of like a difficult thing, right? It's not, well, in a sense it will be, but it's something that lights you up, that gives you purpose. So Gemini, I'm going to leave it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.